Hi, I'm Sharon. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through the ABRSM Theory Grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find there are some free PDF information sheets which you can download in US letter or A4 to accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best be prepared for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time on exam day. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel and please do share out the videos. And now we're going to continue with paper B of the 2019 practice paper booklet. So turn with me to page 12 and we'll have a look at question 2 together to begin with. And so now we're on to intervals here, more specifically melodic intervals that we need to describe. Melodic meaning they come one after each other, like a melody, as opposed to harmonic intervals that come together like a harmony. Now the important thing to consider here is, regardless of which way the interval is presented, you always count from the lowest note down. And also, regardless of what your key signature here is, you always take the lowest note as your tonic to be able to fully describe the interval. You're describing the relationship between these two notes outside of this key signature. So you only consider the key signature and how it might apply to one of the given notes. And so it's really important to be thoroughly conversant with your scales of major and minor scales. And so I always suggest that you write out your circle of fifths so you can quickly glance without getting confused or stressed. And so if you're not sure how to work out this circle of fifths, if you go to my playlist Music Theory for Everyone, you'll find a video there explaining all about the circle of fifths, and I'll put a link in the cards and the description as well. So have all your key signatures to hand as well, just to sort of ease the load a little bit as you're working these out. It's also helpful to just quickly sketch out a piano keyboard so that you can see the relationship of the notes and how the accidentals will affect those. So it doesn't need to be a great work of art, but just sort of sketch it out on a piece of scrap paper first. So then, the first job is to get the number of steps between the notes, and this is the easy bit, and it gives you half marks straight away, literally counting the blobs as it were. The only thing to be careful about is to make sure you count the lowest note as number 1 and then count up in step, line, space, and so on. So here we have a 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a fourth of some sort. So we don't have major or minor, we just have perfect. And again, if you're not sure why that is, if you look on my playlist Music Theory for Everyone, you can see about why these are so if you look at the videos explaining all of the intervals in turn. So here we have a B flat to an E flat, and that's perfectly in line with the major minor key signature with no alterations, and so that's just a perfect fourth, nice and simple. There we go. And so now let's count this one. So again, remember we count the lowest note first, so we want a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so we know it's a sixth of some sort, so that's half the marks done straight away. Now we have a key signature of F sharps and C sharps. So this lowest note here is a C, B, A, G, F sharp. The key signature applies here. So we're going F sharp to D sharp. Now it's quite hard to think, am I in F sharp major, F sharp minor? So if you just think, well, F to D is major, D is part of F major scale. It's a full step. So that's major, and so conversely, well, sort of equally, a parallel movement F sharp to D sharp, you can see it's the same movement, so major, major sixth, just the same. There we go, major sixth. Let's have a look at this next one. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. So we have a 7th. Now our lowest note here is G. Now G to F sharp would be major. F sharp is part of the G major scale. It's the full 7th step. However, the F sharp of the key signature has been cancelled and the interval has been made smaller. Remember, major means greater, minor just literally means smaller. We've made that interval smaller, and so we've gone from major to minor 7th. So that's that. So now we have similar thinking to do. However, we need to create the interval as described here. So we need to create the interval, and it needs to be a melodic interval just the same. So we still need to put one note after the other, not together as a chord. So our first job is to get a 9th or a compound second. So a compound second, if you think, well, there's our octave. So then you count from here, 1, 2. Or you can think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we need to make this augmented. So we have here, because of the key signature, an E flat. So let's look at how we can augment that. So E flat to F is major, that's our full step. And so to augment that, we need to go higher. We need to make it bigger, we augment it. And so we need to add a sharp to make that an F sharp. So the next one, we're counting a third, so 1, 2, 3. So let's think about this. We have a third. So first of all, let's just think of F to A. So F to A would be major. However, we've gone F sharp to A, which is minor. We've made it smaller than the major interval, and so to make it smaller again, to diminish it, we bring this top note down to A flat. So we've gone F to A is major, F sharp to A is minor, smaller, and then smaller again, we diminish it by coming down from the top note with a flat. So we need an A flat there. So that's that one completed. Let's move on to question 3. Now then, question 3 uses very similar thinking patterns. We're still thinking in intervals, but now we're doing a whole stretch of music, not just one note. So we are asked to transpose this passage down a minor third because the instrument is a clarinet in A. That means that when this clarinet plays a note C, what it actually sounds is an A. So we're going to write it out as it actually sounds. And so our first job is to think about our key signature. Now it's easier to just consider this as the major. It may well be the relative minor, but your accidentals will deal with that as you go along. So just easy to think of it in the major. So we're in F major at the moment. And so down a minor third from F takes us to D. That's a minor third lower. And so we're now thinking in the key of D major. And so that means we're going to have a key signature that we're asked to put in here. So we don't need to keep bearing it in mind. We'll just put it down once. Of F sharps and C sharps. And so that's a lot of the hard thinking done. So let's get our time signature in. So before I get too bogged down with writing notes, I'm just going to map out my bars here. I've got enough to be thinking about. I'm taking things one step at a time. So I'm not going to worry about stems just yet. I'm just going to get the note heads in the correct place. So everything's got to come down a third. So basically it's coming down a 1, 2, 3. It's going to be down a space, or 1, 2, 3, down a line. And then we've got some adjusting to do here whenever we come across an accidental. So let's get the note heads in place. So down, down. So then let's deal with this one now. This is a C that has been raised by a sharp. And so this here is an A, and so we need to raise it a semitone. So we will also sharpen that. So coming up in step. So here. So now this one comes to C. Now here, that's been lowered. It's an E natural that's been lowered by a flat. However, this C is affected by our key signature. So at the moment, that's a C sharp. And so in order to lower that by a semitone, if you look, a C sharp lowered by a semitone becomes a C natural. And so you see that you can't just transplant the accidental signs. You've got to just sort of reapply whatever the accidental does here. And so that's lowered it by a semitone. So coming down, down, down. Now here, that is a B flat that has been raised by adding a natural. This at the moment is a G natural, and so in order to raise it, we have to add a sharp. And then up a step again, and we can double check that we're in the right place sometimes by just seeing if we've come across the note before, so we know we're in the right territory. Let's just keep going. So this is down a 1 3 5 1 3 5. That takes us to E. Yes, down a step. Now here, that's an F that has been raised by a sharp. And so in order to raise this note D, we need to add a sharp to raise it. And then we have the same note, but it's been cancelled. So we can bring it back down by adding a natural sign. Down we go. And we've done this note before here, so we should be in the same place. So it's good to just double check. Down a step. So here, this is a note E. That's a G that's been raised by adding a sharp. This is an E, nothing affected by the key signature, so we just raise that by adding a sharp. Up a step. Down. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, so that takes us to a C again, which we should be correct. Yeah, that's right. Dot that, up a step, and then down a third, and we should be right back where we've started, and we are. So that's a reassuring sign. So the only thing we've got to think about now is the stems. We've done all the hard work. Now then, everything apart from this one is below the middle line, so pretty much the stems are going to go up. So let's use a ruler, make that nice and neat. I'll put the dot there, better not forget. Now it's just making sure we've got all the copying details correct. So here, although this stem should come down, it's going to be joined to all of these, so it's kind of outvoted, and it's only one step away. So we'll bring all of these stems up. Sorry, up. I think I said down then, didn't I? Oh yes, that should come down, but these are all up. Yes. I thought I said something backwards then. So here we go. Making sure, so that's semis, so's that one. Nearly there. But you can see why it's important to just take things one step at a time, because if you're trying to deal with stems and pitch and accidentals all at once, I think you're bound to just make a mistake. So take things one step at a time, just so you don't overload your brain. That went a bit wonky. There we go. And then There we go. And in terms of scoring your marks, that's all the work done. If you've got time afterwards, then there's no reason why you can't put all the articulation marks in and so on. But that's not absolutely necessary. There we go. Job done. So that's the end of that question, and we'll look at the next question in the next video. I do hope that's helpful to you. I hope it's beneficial to your studies. I hope that you're enjoying working through these papers with me. I'm certainly enjoying working through it with you. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated, and do share out the videos. And please do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.